Hello, my friends, and thank you for asking me all these questions regarding bloating and getting gassy and getting stinky and getting uncomfortable, and how come sometimes during the day, how much sometimes you might feel a little extra bloated. It goes up and down throughout the day. So I'm here to answer why we get bloated and how to help you solve some of those problems. And in all honesty, diet and nutrition is again our number one thing. Have you ever suffered trying to put your rings on and your fingers just don't fit anymore, which yesterday it did and today it doesn't? Or the waistband on your pants has just gotten tighter for some odd reason and your weight hasn't fluctuated or anything like that. That is bloating. We actually, all of us suffer from some form of bloating than others. It can get really severe, can cause you pain, it can cause you cramping, to just some minor inflammation or some minor water retention. There really are two different types of bloating, or what can cause bloating, that is, and it's excess gas really in our systems. So we're either consuming food that causes bloating for us, or we're swallowing a lot of air. Sometimes when you're drinking through a straw, you tend to swallow a lot more air, and that could also cause a lot of bloating in our system. But mostly for the majority of us, all of us, it's the gas that gets produced in our microorganisms in our gut. And our gut is where everything really does works all together. So our digestion becomes our most important thing when it comes to trying to beat the bloat. And in fact, actually, one of the reasons why I'm even talking to you about this information, because I've been doing a lot of studying, a lot of research, and just learning new tricks and traits, because this happens to me all the time. Like symptoms of bloating, obviously belching, burping, farting, stinky, all that kind of stuff is part of it, but constipation can also be a sign of bloating and something that's not going on. I don't know if you've noticed throughout your day, like at 6 o'clock in the morning when I wake up, my stomach's nice and flat, but by 6:30 or even within 30 minutes, it's not so flat anymore. And then I'll eat something, the day will go by a little bit and it feels like it's gone down again, or a few hours later, it's even gotten bigger. So that is a fluctuation that you'll have throughout your day, which is completely normal and completely normal for all of us. So if that's happening to you, that's okay. But what my concern about the bloat is when it starts to get to the point where things aren't fitting properly and it causing you discomfort. And if you're, let's be honest, if you're farting and you're burping, but if you're farting and it's getting stinky, those things are all signs that something's not working, when in fact, it's your digestion that's not working properly. So excess gas, difficulties digesting your food. And what ends up happening is you're not absorbing the nutrients from your food well enough to break it down. And those things, like even like beans and lentils, all of those things, great things that are good for us, can also cause more bloating. And like just simply to work around it, say you're having a can of beans, rinse them, get the can of beans out, rinse them, just rinse them with water. That will get a lot of the excess bloat that it causes in your body. So just rinse that out. Lentils are fantastic. If you're using them dry, you can soak them overnight so you can get all the extra gases that they produce in our system out. Caffeine is a really big discomfort when it comes to causing bloating. Spicy foods also can cause bloating. Fattier foods, deep fried foods, sugars can cause a lot of bloat. Sugar alcohol, in fact, actually causes a lot of bloating as well. And artificial sweeteners, surprisingly enough, can cause a lot of chaos in our digestion. Our digestion and our brains are actually connected. There's a study, there's so much information that's come out recently, but this isn't anything new. This has been for years and years and years. We've known that if our gut works properly, our brains feel better as well. So if you're somebody like me that suffers from like maybe foggy brain syndrome, sometimes I call it, or just sometimes just good old tuckered and really, really tired, it's telling me that my gut may not be working properly. My stress hormones could also be up. And if you're, suffering stress is also number one hormone, and that starts in our brain, but it actually comes from our gut. Because if our stress levels are up, we might be eating more, we might be eating less. But when that stress hormone comes up, or our fight or flight, the brain takes all the energy that it needs from the body to help digest and to help get yourself around, to move all this stuff. And unfortunately, that causes constipation, right? And then if you've got constipation, you're also now, or even diarrhea, to be perfectly honest, that's all part of bloating issues. You're now also retaining water, and retaining water causes its own thing in bloating. And that is such an uncomfortable feeling. And a good thing to do, when you are retaining water, and I know it sounds so silly, is it's counterintuitive, but if you're actually retaining water and you can see it in your body, you need to drink more water. It will help your system flush itself out, and it will help with your digestion too. We need to keep it moving. A quick tip is, after eating anything, I always try to give myself a 15-minute walk, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I get out right away and get that body moving. Will help with my bowels. Some health conditions can cause extra bloating. If you change your medication, if you have a heart issue, or if you've had any type of health issues, can cause like IBS symptoms. You might not be an IBS, like named as as irritable bowel syndrome with having IBS, but literally a lot of us do have some form of food intolerance. I do. Ice cream, one of my favorite things in the world. And I discovered that I've got lactose intolerance. So that I had to make modifications in my world. That doesn't mean I don't eat ice cream, but what that does mean is I am very smart about how I eat my ice cream. So I have to put some thought into it. You can have you've got good bacteria and bad bacteria in our guts, and finding the right harmony in your intestines is one of the most important things that we could possibly do to digesting our food and making sure that we're living a healthier life. So, if you're someone that wants to take better care of themselves, start thinking about what's going on, what you're putting into yourself, and how does it make you feel? So quick little tips are moving after you eat something. Try to stay away from those artificial sweeteners. Try to stay away from salty foods, fatty foods, sugar, alcohols, and spicy foods. If you're finding yourself, constipated, drink more water, bring that down. That would also help you as well. A quick little tip that I think is one of the easiest things to do is actually get yourself some probiotics and prebiotics. There's tons of natural ways we can get our probiotics and prebiotics from our food, but we've got billions and billions of organisms in there. And sometimes it's just easier to have a probiotic in there alongside with eating better to help you overall, help with getting rid of some of your bloat. I just wanted to quickly add that in. Oh, and the last thing I also wanted to say is fiber. Fiber is a really, really good one to help you get rid of the bloat. Now, this isn't something that happens overnight, but getting bloated could happen within minutes. And I have great story that happened to me on the weekend. We were away for the weekend, and my girlfriend was making us our green smoothie shake, which is one of my recipes, and I loved it. And it was fantastic. We had a great time. We were drinking it, and then we went off afterwards and went off and did our little chores, chopping wood away. But I didn't realize that the protein powder she had put in, and I actually had an allergic reaction to it. So by the time I came home, I was completely distended in my stomach. Which distension just really bloated. It was really out there and extremely, extremely painful. And I knew right away that it had to have been, that was the only thing I didn't know what I was consuming. And I had to put myself on my beat the bloat protocol. And I started that this week. And here I am, it's on Thursday, and I'm already starting to feel so much better. It actually happens quite quickly. But I have to take those drastic measurements and increase my water intake and figure out exactly what foods I was going to have this week, so I didn't irritate it anymore. I added some probiotics and some prebiotics into my food. And also I took some, increased my water take and increased my fiber. So I'm going to get into this a little bit more, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a tip that we all suffer from bloating, and it's natural, but when it becomes too much, we need to do something about it. And I'd be happy to answer any more of those questions. So just keep sending them in, and I will do my best to answer all of them for you guys. Take care. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day.